Good evening. My name is Amanda. And when reading the article of Narcan, I first found it was very hilarious on the way that the writer was wording it. When I first started reading it, I was a little confused, but it was funny how the words he used and how he tried to make it as a magical mystery fairy tale. But as I was reading through it, I started realizing that he was describing Americans. Americans are very body image centered, and hate to say it, but very shallow about their self image. And the article discussed how the magic medicine man, aka doctors, would prescribe these miracle meds that would make them skinny or change their moods or just the magical herbal remedies. And then you got to take into consideration the fact that they described bathrooms and the things that they done in these bathrooms and the shrine room, as they called it, where women would spend all day doing makeup and making themselves look perfect. And then they discussed when you go sick, you ended up in the hospital. That's what it was a hospital. And how the things that you used to do by yourself in private in the bathroom, you're now doing in front of other people's, the maiden ladies. It was quite interesting and how others do depict how Americans do use barbaric means to change their outer appearances. When looking at American culture, the one that stood out to me the most is how we use our etiquette in hosting dinner parties or hosting get-togethers in our homes. Some cultures find that the whole come in and help yourself attitude that we have taken on in the 21st century is rude. If you look at your Asian cultures, they are very uncomfortable if they're invited into somebody's house and are told, hey, just help yourself, because they feel it makes them uncomfortable because their culture is you are more the host of the party or the host of the event is a more hands-on. They expect you to come in, and when they come in, they expect to be greeted and they expect to be seated and they expect, kind of a servant portion of the host will serve them their meal or whatever else that they're there and be on a hands-on approach. And this isn't just Asian cultures. If you look at the different cultures around America itself, things are different. If you go further north, there are more formal dinners still. There are more formal get-togethers. The further south you go, it's, hey, y'all, come on in, help yourself, the tea's in the fridge. This approach from the south is more of your family. You're coming into my home, your family. I'm going to treat you like family. Help yourself. If you look at this ritual or practice throughout history, back in the 18 and early 1900s, when you were invited to a event at somebody's house, you were usually invited by a paper invitation. You were greeted at the door when you showed up for the party, and you were escorted into a dining room, or in the kitchen, depending on how big the home was. Here, you were served sometimes a full 3-4 course meal, where you had your appetizer, then you had your soup and salad, you had your main dish, and then you had the dessert, and then let's go off to the living area or lounge area and have a drink. This was in the day back in the day. This was a major show of wealth and stature in the community. It was a way to say, "Hey, look at me. This is my home. This is what I've made of myself." Dinners were served on fine china. Now, if you look at the 21st century, you get an invite to a dinner through a text message or a Facebook message or a Snapchat or a tweet. You're invited to a dinner, you show up, you knock on the door, you're like, people are yelling, "Come on in." And most of the time, it's not always a home cooked meal like it was back in the day. Now you're looking at somebody ordered pizza and said, "Here you go." It's slapped on paper plates and you're drinking out of paper cups. It's not so much shown as social status as now it's social. You're there to get together, there to hang out and have fun. It's not all about, "Hey, look at me, this is what I'm made of." Now it's so much of, "Hey, come on in and let's have some fun." There's no longer the formal etiquette of dinners. It's, as I said, it's a let's hang out. I got a lot of this information from Vox.com. These changes are both beneficial and detrimental to the U.S. culture. If you take into consideration, the detrimental part is we have gone away from the historical art of social gatherings, etiquette, and elegance, and sitting down at a table and having a home cooked meal. And now it's more of a hangout, a get together. You're losing the art of the formal dining. You're losing the history of how you are physically sitting down and talking to one another. Most dinner parties now, you're standing at a counter or you're just standing around with a paper plate in your hand and you're laughing and you're joking. That is the benefit of social get-togethers now, is the simple fact that we're not so focused on the formal social gathering. We're now formal. It's more of a, we're friends, let's hang out. I'm just as good as you are. I don't need to show off my wealth. I don't need to show off my social status because we are all equal. So come on in, your family, help yourself.